Hey everybody, it's Jane Johnston with the Bar Hill Group at Remax Camosun, host of Vancouver Island Time and now Community Talks every day at 4:30. Today I'm here with Leslie Hopkins. Welcome, Leslie.
Thank you. Welcome. Yes, thank you.
Just been having a fun conversation while I warm her up for the show. So tell us what you do and how you do it.
All right. My business, Jane, is Confident Core Fitness, and I help improve people's I'm going to say potential for movement. As I said, my business is Confident Core Fitness, so it's a core-based training, exercise-based training, specifically pelvic floor health. So I specifically help women relieve issues like incontinence and prolapse. A lot of people don't understand that a lot of chronic back pain can be related to this too. And your back muscles, deep spinal muscles are part of your core. So I teach people what their core is, help them with exercise-based
Modalities.
Pardon me?
Modalities.
Modalities. Thank you. I can't think of the word. Yes. Yeah. And depending and helping to improve, just the way they move, because we have a habit of how we move. And we've had this habit for many years, and some habits are good and some habits are not so good. And the not so good ones cause us chronic pain, or they cause us to overwork certain muscles that just really impede the way we move, and we don't move as well as we want to.
Yeah, I'm finding that myself, just essentially because of my age. But is age related to it, or can you change your functionality at any age, I guess is a word.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, age is a risk factor. I mean, as we get older, our muscle mass decreases, our lung capacity decreases, and that's why we exercise. For people who are active and like to stay active, we exercise to maintain our muscle mass, our cardiovascular health, so we can improve function and our form, at any age and any stage of life.
Okay, so I just posted a question here. Is this for men and women?
Yes. For sure. Men and women both have, of course, core muscles. Women have, a little bit more going on in the pelvic floor because we can be pregnant, give birth to children. So we have an extra pelvic organ, the uterus, and of course the vagina. So we have an extra opening there as well, but it's for either sex. We all have pelvises, and they all support the base of our core, that support the base of our spine.
So often I think people probably would come to you, especially women, if you have this tagline that you use, laugh without leaking. Mm-hmm. So like if they sneeze or whatever, and all of a sudden they realize, oh my goodness, I need to go to the bathroom.
Right.
So that can be reversed?
Yes, it can be. I mean, I'm going to say it really depends on what the underlying problem is. But for the most part, I think the statistic is something like 80%, 79 or 80% of people experiencing things like, it's called stress incontinence, when you accidentally kind of leak a little bit when you laugh, cough, sneeze, or maybe you're lifting something heavy. Yes, with exercise therapy, simple exercises. They're all simple exercises. Yeah, and that can be helped. And what's really interesting is that the more I train people, the more I work with people and watch them move and understand how they move, is that a lot of us have a lot of muscles that are working too hard for us. When a muscle works too hard, particularly the muscles in the core, and the core is made up of a group of 4 muscles. So when one or more of those don't function like they should, dysfunction occurs, like accidentally leaking while you laugh, or things like hernias, slip disc. Yeah, hernias, slip disc, prolapses. So there's a lot that goes on with the core. So the pelvic floor is the base of your core. Deep abdominals, front sides, they wrap around into the back, into a deep spinal muscle group. And then the top of your core is your diaphragm. And your diaphragm is the main muscle you use when you breathe. So it's always working. And it always has this just kind of little ebb and flow. And so what I teach is a basic breathing technique that helps people establish their connection to their core. And then we learn to move to the rhythm of the breath. So we figure out how that breath kind of synergizes pelvic floor and diaphragm, and then we can really make a difference in how we move well.
Do you find people who are singers Generally have a strong core because they're controlling that movement.
You know, I've had a number of singers, and there's a lot of I don't really, I've never really taken singing lessons, professional singing lessons, or singing lessons at all. So I think it's a yes and a no to that one. Like there can be, yeah, I mean, singers do have a use of how, an understanding of how they need to work their diaphragm to create more air in so they can kind of hold a note longer as that air goes out. For sure, they're kind of working with that. But with their abdominals, they're also experiencing some expansion of the abdominals, which you need to, but it all kind of needs to work in unison, and then it's fine to sing, because for most singers, no, maybe not, but they don't move a lot when they sing. I'm thinking, okay,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
not, because, when you watch, Justin Timberlake or something like that, he's busy moving and singing at the same time, and lots of people are, right? So it's kind of like, it's a yes and a no.
Okay. So, I mean, traditionally, I think people have been taught, do your Kegels, especially after you have a baby. Are Kegels one of the exercises you use? And if so, why or why not?
Okay, so Kegels so there was a guy, doctor, in the 1940s named Dr. Arnold Kegel, and he was the first to recommend pelvic floor exercise for bladder control. So a pelvic floor contraction is called a Kegel. It's kind of like the Heimlich maneuver, right? It's called the Heimlich maneuver because it was a Dr. Heimlich. So, but quite often, a lot of women don't do a Kegel properly. They're contracting their pelvic floor muscles, but they might be breath holding. They might be squeezing their bum. They might be gripping their hips. They might be kind of holding onto their abdominals and kind of doing all of that. So pelvic floor muscle or Kegels can be tricky, and they're best taught by a pelvic floor physio. And I have a couple of techniques I teach women as well that they can kind of do on their own. So a little bit of, I'm going to call it self-exploration. So I get them to do that on their own, just to understand a proper Kegel. Are you really just contracting your pelvic floor muscles, or is everything else kind of starting to grip and brace, and are you breathing? So ideally, you want to think about doing a Kegel when you breathe out and relaxing that when you breathe in.
I'm trying.
Exactly. Yeah. So Kegels, and do the Kegel with the breath, and then we do some movement. So there's a point in time when you're doing a Kegel, and then there's a point in time when you really want to understand, though, those muscles actually need to relax as well, so you can move better.
Okay. Question for you regarding COVID-19. So obviously you're not working face-to-face with people. How have you changed your program?
It started with, tomorrow, which is Tuesday, May 5th, I'm introducing an online program called Pelvic Floor Pilates Move Well for Life. So I'm combining, I've been a Pilates instructor for close to 20 years and worked with pelvic floor exercise therapy for about the past 7 years. So I'm combining those two in the title, but really I've been doing this all along. With my current clients, when I closed my studio door, I kind of like to say another one opened, because I used my studio clients. I started to support them with online pelvic floor Pilates classes, and did that through Zoom. And so they were my guinea pigs, or my test case. And so they helped me with, things like the videos, could they hear me? Can they see me properly? All of that, and how was it for them to access this online, and what type of room did they need in their own homes? So I've spent 7 weeks doing that, and I'm launching that tomorrow. So I've taken something, and I've been meaning to do this for a long time, support people online, because ideally a lot of the exercises are pretty simple. But sometimes the simple exercises people tend to ignore. It's, the ones that your physio gives you.
Yeah.
We probably all had exercises given to us by a physio or a chiropractor or even our doctors. And those are the ones that we do for maybe, I don't know, a couple of weeks. And then we kind of go, oh yeah, I forgot about those. So these are the type of exercises that you do consistently, and they really make a difference, because we are learning how the core works, how it works with the breath, the give and take with the movement. And of course, that helps you move well for life. It really improves your movement potential.
So what is the format of your new program?
It's an online class, so it's Tuesday mornings, every Tuesday morning, 9:15, 45-minute class. People come prepared to move, so they bring their yoga mats and maybe some props for their little towel or a pillow for their head, that type of thing. The class is 45 minutes, and after that, I open it up for questions. So if someone had a question, a concern, maybe they were dealing with an issue, if they wanted to speak with that in front of the group, they could do that and get a little bit of coaching from me. Otherwise, people are free to go. And then those classes are all recorded. And I've got a program, the program is now worked out where the class recording will go and people get access to that recording. So if they can't hit Tuesday at 9:15, they can make it at a time that works for them.
And so do you have space left in that class?
I do. Yes, I do. Yeah. I don't have a limit right now. So right now I have 18 women signed up, which is fantastic.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's awesome.
I know, it's pretty exciting. And I'm hoping to grow it from there. So I'm hoping that this turns into another income stream for me. And it's something that I can do when I travel as well. So you can, I can conduct this class from anywhere I really am. As long as I have my laptop with me or my iPhone, I can just kind of do that class and upload it. So
that's awesome. So do you ever bring any other people in have you thought about doing this, bringing in other people for your classes as kind of guest speakers or whatever?
I've given that some thought. I'm not sure because it would probably part of I'm going to say maybe like within my course, there are also resources. So for sure, I could do an interview with them like this if I was choosing to speak on a certain topic, we could do an interview like this, and I can take this recording and load it into the program as well, and they would have access to that. So yes, I could speak to somebody. Guest instructors, for sure, that's crossed my mind as well, especially if I was sick or I couldn't do one. So I could get someone to do that for me. So bring somebody in. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what type of equipment do people need at home for your program?
I really advise people a yoga mat. A yoga mat creates personal space. So it's basically, okay, I can lie on there. It's creating some space, and also is a non-slip surface. That's really all people need. I like them to bring a towel. So sometimes people will lie on their back and, put their head on the ground, but their neck is not going to feel that comfortable. So they need just a little bit of height just to relax the muscles of the neck, because a lot of us have a lot of neck issues, from sitting and typing and reading and riding and driving our bikes and things like that. So
I do know.
The head needs some support, and it helps you feel your abdominals more if your head is a little lifted. So yoga mat, towel, if you have a yoga block, if you have things like a Pilates ball, I said those are options, but no, you don't need anything fancy.
Okay. So the best way to get in touch with you is confidentcorefitness.com?
That's correct. Yes. confidentcorefitness.com. Yeah, I can see it up right there. Yeah, I also have a Facebook page as well, Confident Core Fitness, and Instagram, Confident Core Fit. So any one of those ways. But yeah, on my website, of course, is a contact page and some information about my program as well.
Okay. Because we have a little bit of extra time, I'm just wondering what's happening with COVID-19 in your area. You're in Fernwood, I believe.
I am in Fernwood. It's it's quiet here. We're starting to we've been out in the streets walking, doing our yard work, maintaining our social distance. So it's nice because I'm seeing neighbors that I have, some of them that I've never met before, right? They're coming out more. They're actually out on the streets or in their yard. And that's nice. It's like, wow, I've always wondered who lives there, and there they are.
Are you doing the honk for healthcare at 7?
You bet. I have a cowbell. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I've been looking. I have a cowbell too. I should get it out.
Yeah,
from Switzerland.
Ah, yeah.
And are you finding any pressure from your neighbors to kind of work or anything like that? Anybody?
No. Yeah, everybody is just pretty pretty laid back. Like I said, in their gardens. The house next to me is a house that's rented by, I think, 4 young women who are all in the service industry. So they're home, and on the sunny days, they're out sun tanning. We're kind of passing puzzles back and forth and that type of thing. So, those type of things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
good. I'm finding for us, it's creating more of a community. It's really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. People are actually out there and waving to each other and, saying hi. It's a lot more of that, especially at the start. I found at the start, it was really that way because we were all, I think, in a bit of shock. And now that shock is kind of worn off, where, it's a bit now passing people and I'll say hello to them and they're back to just kind of walking forward and not looking and going, oh,
I miss that. Yeah.
yeah, I missed that. I do have an interesting thing about COVID-19 and Pilates. So Joseph Pilates, there was a guy named Joseph Pilates who actually invented the first exercise method, but he called it controlology. And he actually started teaching it at the time of the Spanish flu.
Oh.
And so he was, at the time that the Spanish flu broke out, he was on the Isle of Man. Joseph Pilates is German. So he was a German citizen in England at the time. So he was in an internment camp, and he taught his fellow inmates his method of exercise and was credited with staving off the outbreak of influenza in that internment camp that he was in, because Pilates focuses on deep breathing, how we can really efficiently work the lungs, how we can really let the air go in and then blow all that stale air out. So in Pilates, there's always this attention to the breath, taking deep breaths in, but really getting rid of all of that air so we can take a deep, fresh breath in again.
That's interesting. Well, I did read that there was a higher incidence of COVID-19 in areas of higher pollution. And also, like, I have been driving around with my top down on my car because I thought, okay, even though I'm allergic to all the pollen, I need those UV rays, man, because right? That's one of the things that they found out as well, that having people in wide open spaces with windows open and lots of light, that there was less transmission of
That's
this.
right. Yeah, vitamin D. Yeah, vitamin D is important. I read that too. But vitamin D is also important for bone health and things like that too. So yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, you're an amazing resource, and I hope people take you up. I think that's great that you have 18 people signed up. That's honestly, I'm very happy for you. It's been very interesting to watch your business grow over, I think I've known you about 7 years.
Wow. Yeah. So yeah, it's taken I mean, it takes a while. It's not an easy subject, dealing with pelvic health. And but what I really want women especially to understand is that there are alternatives, that we don't have to leak a little bit when we cough, laugh, or sneeze. And pelvic health is very important. I mean, the pelvic floor, base of your core, it can really affect the way that you move. And I think as women, we are used to reaching for a pad when we have a little leak, because we menstruate monthly. So we're used to dealing with this kind of leaking, I'm going to say, this going on. So when we start leaking little bits of urine, it's like, well, we're used to wearing pads, and there are alternatives. I sometimes feel like I should wear a little pad, get rid of it there, one of those little mini pads that says pad free for 7 years. Like, honestly, like, I wore a pad from the day my first child was born until however many, 7 years ago. Yeah, until 7 years ago, because I was always afraid that, there just in case made me feel good. But then I went, no, you know what? I actually don't need those. So.
So if you guys want to change your life and perhaps have a little more freedom and gather control of your core, you definitely need to speak to Leslie. She's starting her course tomorrow, and I guess they can join at any time, right?
Yeah, you can join it at any time. And I have a number of other ways that I serve women as well. So I have more specific classes as well. So yeah, but they can join at any time. And it's an all levels class. So I do teach to all levels and provide modifications if people need to take it up a notch, or maybe even take it down a notch, just depending on just my experience when I teach these types of exercises. When I see different people working, I know that there's people out there who maybe kind of always have their shoulders lifted up, or, that type of thing, or people are really gripping with their jaw and their neck.
I have a question, actually. Sorry, I was going to close out, but I'm not going to. So can you correct people's form using Zoom?
In a private setting, for sure. Like if it was a one-on-one, like we're doing right now, and I could see you move. Yes, yeah, I could give you some, some ways to improve your form while you're doing an exercise. I could also do a posture analysis on you, and then just help you devise a program of exercises that are suitable for your postural kind of issues. For instance, not a lot, but some people as they age, they get that kind of rounded kind of hump, a bit of kyphosis going on in their upper back. So, focusing on posture muscles for your upper mid back is going to help to correct that. So yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I could do that with this
help that way.
Oh yeah.
Well, now I do. I haven't exercised in 7 weeks. I've gotten on the erg twice.
You can try my class out.
Sure.
Yeah, give it a try. It's basic exercise. Anybody can do it. And also on my class, I use those the 7 weeks of classes that I taught my students. It was a progressive series. So I kind of started at the very beginning and progressed along, because I actually had my sisters join, and each of my sisters had a friend join, and I knew neither of them had done Pilates before, one of the friends and one of my sisters. So I thought, okay, I need to make this, let's start at the beginning and work our way up. And so I've done those 7 weeks of classes. I've actually loaded into my program so people can watch those as a progression. If they've never done Pilates before, or they're not sure, there's a language that Pilates uses, just like in yoga. In yoga, people know what a downward facing dog is, or maybe they do, maybe they don't. But it's the same in Pilates, is that they're the moves. It's not they're not positions, but they're moves in Pilates, or movement-based exercises. So they could be called the breaststroke, like you would swim in the water, or it could be called, swan dive, or rolling like a ball, or things like this. So the exercises have a different, have a way of saying the exercise.
Yeah.
Maybe that didn't kind of sound right, but yes, there we are.
I hear you. I find that, well, when I'm taught phys ed, those are called cues. So they're, teaching cues. Yeah. And they, the one word or phrase represents a series of movements. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then it becomes pretty interesting when somebody knows the move and you say, no more breaststroke prep. And people go, oh, those are those exercises, the ones that, keep my head back over my shoulders. Those are those muscles back there. Or, yeah.
Are you finding that people end up, like when they leave your program, that they end up more confident and go on to do exercise?
Yeah.
Like they re-enter back into the exercise world?
Yeah. Yeah. It's appropriate for people who want to re-enter, for sure. And especially people who always, they'll go and they'll start a routine at a gym or at a fitness studio. I don't know what those are going to look like, coming out of this COVID time, but and they get injured easily. So definitely it's going to help people build a strong core. You're building your foundation, and when your foundation is strong, then you can really make a difference. So that's what I really find. So people who want to improve their athletic performance, people who want to return to fitness, or active people who are just finding they've had to give up things like golf or tennis, or things that they would really love to do because they always have a chronic injury or back pain or, a knee issue. So, yeah.
Ironically, this is the first time in years that I haven't been sore. Because I haven't done anything.
I think it's a good break for a lot of us, especially people who always feel that they have to, be at the gym, work out like crazy. I think it's a really good break, just like you said, because it's going to give those muscles a time to relax and just reestablish our new normal in many senses of the word.
I'm hoping I'm going to go back stronger, but I don't think so. But I might go back rested, which will make me a better rower. So yeah, we'll see. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Leslie. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, Jane, for the opportunity. And it was my pleasure. And it was a really easy talk. And thank you.
Okay, well, if you know anybody else who might be interested in being on the show, we're all booked up for this week. But next week we have some space, so you can message me through Facebook, or you can get in touch with us through the BriarHillGroup.com. If you have any questions for Leslie, give her a call, 250-818-1794, or you can reach her at confidentcorefitness.com or follow her on her social media. She's a really nice person, so you want to get to know her.
Thanks, yeah.
Okay, and tomorrow we are going to be talking to our co-parenting, separation, and divorce crew at 4:30, and then Wednesday we have a special guest. Thursday we have a coach, and Friday we're going to be doing our mortgage update. So stay tuned, and we'll see you tomorrow at 4:30. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.
Bye, Jane.
Bye.